Finding the right product to sell for your Amazon FBA or ecom business is probably the number one thing you can do to be successful. But right behind that is actually finding the right factory and supplier to actually manufacture the product for you. Now, there is a lot of crap on YouTube for how to find a factory, but in this video, we're gonna break down a super quick masterclass. You're gonna wanna turn up your volume, not just because my shirt is loud today, but because we're gonna go through my exact 5-step process for finding the best factories in the world. You're gonna get the step-by-step end-to-end SOP available and my super secret script that I use to bulk communicate with up to 20 factories at once. We're not gonna waste any time. Let's get after it. What is up, guys, and welcome to Heist. And we're gonna get right after this one because this is a really important topic when you're scaling a physical products e-commerce business. And that's finding, working with, and manufacturing with the best factories in the world. Now, I spent north of $100 million on products, specifically out of China. I've worked with 30 plus factories. I've visited 50 plus factories. I've been to the Canton Fair. I've been on the back roads of China. I've been in some of the biggest manufacturing hubs in the world. And throughout all this experience, I've developed what I think is a pretty good playbook for actually finding the best factories in the world. Now, my general approach now is to actually obviously customize products, build really unique value propositions, really differentiated products. But it starts with finding the actual factories that make that category of product. That's step number one, and what we're really gonna go over here today. A great resource to start, which we're gonna go over, is Alibaba.com, but obviously there's sourcing agents, trade shows. A lot of the methodology still applies. But what you wanna do is find one of the best factories in the world that's not necessarily the biggest, but the one that can make your product the best with the best terms. It's a factory that can customize and leverage their engineering to do those tweaks and those unique elements that you want to inject into the product. It's how you communicate with lots at once, and ultimately how you find the best quality, the best price, and the best communication. So we're gonna dive right into an example that I actually built out in the FBA Blueprint course. We looked at a golf push cart example. We're gonna look at that here. Basically, the concept was to take a standard golf push cart, but put some really kind of beefy monster truck style tires on it. So what we wanna do here first is find the factories that can actually make one of these push carts to the quality that we want, bulk communicate with as many as possible using the secret script I'm gonna show you, and then whittle it down from there before we actually ultimately order samples, negotiate price terms, and get some of those unique features injected in the product. So this is the 5-step SOP. You can get access to a PDF via the link below, but let's go. All right, so the first thing you're gonna wanna do is to navigate to Alibaba.com. And then really step one is to actually filter out and try to avoid trading companies and working with actual factories. So to do this, type in the generic product category that you're looking at. In our case, we're looking at a golf push cart, hit search, and then you're gonna get a whole bunch of options here, which is gonna include sponsored listings, factories, and actually trading companies. We do not want trading companies here. So one of the filters that we can do is we can actually click on the left-hand side on the toggle for trade assurance, as well as verified supplier. This isn't foolproof, but it can definitely help whittle down the list. Now, once you've got that list, actually click on one of the products that you think is interesting, and then how you can start to do a secondary layer to ensure that you're actually working with the factory is to go over onto the right and actually click on the factory profile, which is going to be a link. That's going to open up the equivalent of their basically store for their factory. Now, what you can see at the very top is if they've actually been verified. You can actually click on that to see who actually verified the factory. This is really important because it means that boots on the ground have actually gone out, verified that it's an actual factory, verified that everything that is said in this profile is true. Some other things I like to do here is to actually scroll down in the bottom. Usually legit factories are going to show actual photos of their factory. You can see some of these here. And then the other thing you can do is look at the address. And oftentimes if you see something that's on the 6th floor, that's probably a trading company because most factories have an actual large factory operation. They're not in an office building, which a lot of these showrooms would be. Now, the other thing I like to do is to actually see what products are in their catalog. We're obviously looking for a golf push cart, but you typically are going to see them making a lot of the similar kinds of products if they're a legit factory that can actually produce world-class product for you. So you can see here in this example, these guys basically make only golf stuff. They're not making baseball, soccer, and golf. They're totally focused on golf, and they have a lot of options in their catalog for what we actually want to build out. This is really important because that means that they've got the foundation, they've got the product design and engineering know-how, they know how to do molds, they probably have a CAD team, they've got expertise in what you actually want to sell. Now, a couple things you'll see here if it is a trading company, and again, sometimes that's a little harder to spot, but this is an example of a profile where they basically have Shenzhen night import and export supplies. Anytime you see import and export, that's a glaring red flag that we're dealing with a trading company, which basically means you're dealing with a middleman. You're going to get a markup. You're not going to be communicating directly with the factory. You're not going to get the best terms. And the likelihood that this trading company is selling the exact same product to a whack load of other people is incredibly high. Another thing you can do here, another example, is to go to this company overview section. And if you scroll down here, we can see that this one here has a factory size which is less than 1,000 square meters. Again, that's basically an apartment. So what we're talking about here is a showroom, which is very indicative of a trading company. Some other warning signs at a profile here. One is founded in 2022, so super new. Could be sketchy even if it was a factory, but this one also has less than 50 people and they've got less than 1,000 square meters, all warning signs. So your goal number one is to find the best factories that are actual factories making your product. You're going to want to go ahead and call those, find all the options. Don't worry as much about price right now. We can validate price, quality, communication, all those other variables that matter here next. I should also say that you should also be aware of sponsored listings. Just like an Amazon FBA listing that has pay-per-click sponsored products at the top, so does Alibaba.com. So be careful. Not that there's a bad thing. It doesn't mean that it's not necessarily a bad product or factory, but just be aware that they're paying to be placed there, which means that they may not be relevant. So the next step, and this is one that's going to save you a ton of time, is how you can bulk compare and bulk reach out to these factories. So basically there's a little toggle at the bottom of every listing. So if you see a product that you like that generally is speaking to what you're looking to do, you can click compare and literally just rifle down the list, adding up to 20 different products and factories to look at. Now, once you've selected all the options that you actually want to compare and look at, again, do up to 20. I recommend at least 5 to 10. You could click that compare button at the bottom. And what it's going to do is it's going to pop up all of them sequentially that you select, and you can compare across the board what the prices are, what certs they have, if they've been verified. You can click on the actual link to look at each individual catalog and factory option. And then at the bottom, you can basically select the ones that you actually want to reach out to. So maybe some of these in here, you don't like the product after doing some digging, or maybe they're a trading company, or there's something about the offer you don't like. You basically just select the ones that you want to communicate with. Then you can select contact supplier, and it's going to contact all of them at once. So you can save a crap load of time here. Now here's the super secret script. I've seen a lot of people with different RFQ forms and stuff, but this is one that I think is really strategic and really helps uncover those that are the best value, the best quality, and the most likelihood to be key long-term partners. We're going to go through this word by word here and just kind of call out some of the strategic points. So in the first paragraph here, your company appears to have extensive capabilities in golf push carts. So we've selected you as one of the factories in our evaluation for a long-term partner. Key thing here is long-term partner. This is language that's going to speak to world-class factories and very much what they're looking for. They don't want Amazon sellers. They don't want somebody that's a tire kicker. They want people that's going to bring real business, and they're going to bring it over a long period of time. So that's the strategic use of terms there in that first paragraph. So the next line is, we are a leading golf brand in the US and European markets with high growth across numerous sales channels and retail partners. This is a little bit of one of these, like, not overselling yourself, but even if you aren't these things, you want to let them know that A, you want to go global with this, and B, you definitely don't want to say I'm just an Amazon FBA seller or I'm just a Shopify store seller. You want to actually broaden the potential capabilities even if you aren't there yet, so that they know that you're not just a small-time e-commerce seller. The next thing is that we like to call out the actual commitment. So basically the RMB trades at about 7 to 1 for the US dollar. So you can divide whatever amount you think you might ultimately spend with some of your bigger orders here. Again, use your own judgment on what's ethical or not. You don't want to overset expectations, but you definitely want them, let them know that, hey, I'm not spending like $1,000 here. I might be spending 20, 30, 40, 50,000 plus dollars in my first order and or in my first year, just to kind of pique their interest. So the next line says, at a minimum, we are committing 350,000 RMB investment on this product initially, with much longer long-term potential. Before we proceed with the sample validation, can you please answer the following RFQ questions? Customization. Do you offer product customization? If so, can you please share what custom capabilities you've done in the past? Again, we're not looking to just take one of their products and white label it. We're going to tweak it in some way. We want to understand A, that that's something that they do, and B, some examples of what they've done in the past. The next one here is exclusivity. When we work on custom products and design features, it is important that we have exclusive rights to these designs to protect all of our retail partners in the US. Are you willing to sign exclusivity and NDA agreements for custom projects we develop with you? Again, if we're going to do any kind of customization, we don't want that being sold off to other factories or other trading companies or other competitors. Super important to get that out of the way right off the bat. Next one, factory visit. We like to have our China team visit factories, and our foreign team will visit too when we come to China. Are these visits welcome? Again, they're going to answer yes to this, but the point is that we know what we're doing. We've got a team in China. We visit China. We're going to come to the factory. That sets the tone, basically, not to lie. Capabilities. Can you provide your production capacity for golf push carts? We want to ensure that you have the ability to scale with our larger order sizes as we expand this line. Again, even if you're going to be ordering small MOQs to start or smaller portions to start, we just want to get an idea what their capacity is. And again, asking this question lets the factories know that you're not a small fish. And then finally, pricing. Can you share your pricing from 1K, 5K, 10K pieces and your typical full 40 high cube container quantities? There's a lot of debate out here whether you should ask for pricing at different volumes. What I like to do though is basically understand a especially high volume amount, what they may price at. Basically, their costs may not change a whole lot depending on the quantities, but they may take smaller margin concessions. So even if I'm only going to order 1,000 pieces in this case of these golf push carts, and it's highly unlikely for any long period of time that we're going to order 10,000 pieces, they quote me out at 10,000, I at least know what their bottom is. And that comes in really handy when we negotiate. And then finally, I just say we look forward to hearing back from you and working with you on a possible long-term partnership. I use Shishi here, which is the Chinese version of thank you. I also include my name. I've got a Chinese name, Li, so I like to include that, again, legitimizing that I'm not just a foreign tire kicker Amazon seller. So basically with that, we copy that script in, customize it for whatever product you're going to do, copy and paste it in here, and then send inquiry. And then you've sent up to 20 different quotes. Now, what I like to do on this first pass is to see A, who's communicating well and who responds quickly. And I'm really trying to whittle down and understand which ones I want to order samples from. Now, the next process involves custom engineering, negotiation, exclusivity agreements, a bunch of stuff that I'm going to cover in future videos, but we have dozens and dozens of videos in the FBA Masterclass. If you want to join my deep dive strategic program, click a link down below. But we're going to continue to drop more content like this masterclass on finding the best factories in the world, because this stuff matters. There's probably, 8 to 12 things you've got to do really right when you're building an e-commerce and Amazon FBA business. I want to cover each of those in detail. They're not rocket science, but they matter. Doing the basics, having a strategic framework like I've covered here, can set you aside from other sellers and help avoid the nightmares of choosing the wrong factory. If you want this SOP down below, as well as the script I just went over, click that link. If this is your first time here, do all that stuff, hit subscribe, like, you know the drill. And we're going to be back next week with more deep dive content just like this. Cheers, guys.